Mr. Sunny, be silent in the event, please. Before we start the event, I'd like to give you a background. The intent of this collaboration is setting up a collaboration partnership between the Indian startups and the startups at UAE and GCC countries. I'm very proud to inform you all that with the permission of FICCI Startup Committee Chairman, my mentors, today you will witness the leadership of FICCI, which has brought into this domain, not only in India, but the entire world. With their great leadership, our presence already in many countries like US, UK, Japan, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Russia, ASEAN countries, BIMSTEC countries. This particular activity or announcement will be the first bridge of FICCI in this domain in bringing their startup ecosystem collaboration with our local partners in UAE and surroundings. Welcome all. I now request my chairman, who is a Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, founder of SCL, chairman of FICCI Startup Committee, respected Ajay Chaudhary, to give his opening remark. Over to you, Ajay.
Thank you, Renakar. I think this is a wonderful occasion for us to work together with UAE and the GCC countries to bring investments into startups in both locations. I think the biggest benefit that we bring to the UAE is the fact that Indian Angel Network in India is the #1 network in India and also has a fund called IAN Fund. So there are benefits of both of these that can accrue to investors from the UAE. And that is really what we are bringing to the table today, where the experience and the knowledge of IAN, Indian Angel Network, and the fund will accrue to investors from all over the UAE and GCC countries as we go forward. So I think this is our big value proposition that we have put together today. What I would like to also mention is that the Indian Angel Network is also the largest network of angels in the world. So we are not just located in India. We have investors who come from many parts of the world. And we have invested in mostly in startups in India, but we do also have invested in some startups outside of India. So we have the experience and the knowledge of having done this for more than 10 years today. And our results show up that we have delivered extremely good returns to our investors. So we are very happy to partner today to make this announcement. And we would like to make sure that we achieve great results from this collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, respected my chairman, for your kind leadership. And you are a pied piper for all of us. We will definitely walk the architect you have laid for us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to now invite my mentor-in-chief, who is a Padma Shri, Dr. Saurabh Srivastava. Saurabh is a co-founder and past president of NASSCOM. He is a co-founder of NASSCOM and a past president of NASSCOM. He is also a past chairman of Indian Venture Capitalist Association, TIE Delhi, NCR. He is the chairman of Indian Angel Network. He is on the board of IIT Kanpur, and he is a chairman of IIT Naya Raipur. He is also on the board of Ashoka University as a mentor, and also a mentor-in-chief of FICCI Startup Committee. Over to you, Saurabh.
Thank you, Nirankar. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here. Dubai is a city and a country that I'm really fond of. in the UAE has a special place in my heart. I just wanted to add that actually India has always been a very entrepreneurial country. I mean, 400 years ago, we used to be almost a quarter, 25% of global GDP, the same as China, same as all of Europe. It went down with colonization and our experiment with socialism, but after we opened up, we created an industry of it. Ajay and I have been an integral part. And that IT industry within 20 years is now a $250 billion industry and created 99% of the companies, which were startups. And what has happened since then is that in the early days, 20 years ago, when I founded the first private sector VC fund in India, there was almost no VC money coming to India, about $1 billion. And the government was not that focused on entrepreneurship. Today, the government of India is very focused on entrepreneurship. Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi leads it from the front. A lot of excellent regulatory reforms have taken place. And one great thing has been done, which is that the government has created an unparalleled digital infrastructure, something that exists actually nowhere else in the world. There's a what all of you may have heard of is the Unique ID Authority of India, UID. 1.3 billion Indians have a unique registration number. There's the United Payment Interface, UPI, 3 billion transactions a month. There's FASTag, already has 120 million transactions a month. There's an app for government services, over 1 billion transactions a month already. There's an app for another platform for telemedicine called eSanjeevani. There was a COVID app for anything to do with COVID. So it's unique in terms of how it works. It allows entrepreneurs to build applications and quickly scale based on the back of these digital platforms. And so what has happened is that we have now moved to being the third largest startup ecosystem in the world, over 65,000 startups. We have created about 37 unicorns in the last 10 years. And now we've created 37 this year alone. So we are now 74 unicorns. And there is a reason why a lot of this is happening. If you look at it, we have 1.5 billion mobile phones, 750 million plus, internet users. And we are the number one in the world now on mobile internet. Lowest cost phones, under $70 for a smartphone, lowest call rates in the world. We're number 2 in the app downloads. And in venture capital and private equity, from 1 billion, it's now grown to 60 billion. We have almost 400 VC firms, 150 corporates are investing, and over 500 incubators. So far in the startup ecosystem and in the investing ecosystem, we've had a lot of connects with the US and also a lot with Singapore. And with the UAE, it's been building up slowly for a period of time. It has recently, in the last 4 or 5 years, begun to escalate. And as Ajay mentioned earlier, I think there's tremendous opportunity for us to collaborate. Padmaja, my colleague, will talk more about the Indian Angel Network, but we have been involved, the 3 of us, in the Indian startup ecosystem now for several decades. We've been there at the start when there was no ecosystem, and we've helped build it. And therefore, we feel that there's a lot of value that we can add to the UAE ecosystem. And there's a lot of value that UAE can add into the Indian startup ecosystem. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you, Saurabh, and your guidance. And fortunate is the UAE, who has guidance of our mentors, Dr. Ajay Chaudhary and Saurabh. I'm very personally very happy that this particular announcement will lead a new path, a new economy, a new startup culture, a culture of unicorn, which you have shown in India to be present in the region. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very thankful to the government of Dubai and government of India, led by our Honorable Prime Minister. We have a presence of our Mr. K. Kalimuthu, is a consul economic from the CGI Dubai. May I request him to kindly grace the occasion and give us comment and remark.
Namaskar. Padma Bhushan Dr. Ajay Chaudhary, founder, HCL, chairman, FICCI Startup Committee, Padma Shri Dr. Saurabh Srivastava, Ms. Padmaja Ruparel, Mr. Ganesh Raju, Mr. S. Venkatesh, Mr. R. Lakshmanan, and Mr. Nirankar Saxena, mentors, and all other guests. A very good evening to all of you. It's my pleasure and honor to be part of this program. We are all aware that startups in India are growing exponentially in all spheres of economic activity. The startups are making very significant contribution in the present day economic activities. They are all creating a lot of value addition, playing a vital role in bridging gap in value chains of economic and industrial process. The scalability of startup is another aspect which brings benefit to SME also. Further, startup ecosystem are giving ample opportunity for the Indian youth to bring their potential entrepreneurship capabilities. Realizing this huge potential of startup, India Pavilion has positioned Innovation Hub as part of its exhibition. Consulate General of India and FICCI in association with other partners have been organizing series of pitching sessions. The pitching sessions called the Elevate aims to get the opportunities for the startups to present their ideas for attracting investment and getting right partners in their business and growth. Looking at startup investments, we know that many of them have crossed $1 billion valuation. Now they are unicorns. But for most of the startups, unavailability of capital is the main issue, an obstacle in realizing their full potentials. Getting access to funds, international funds, will help startups to grow to their full potential. This will also help to unleash the potential of Indian startups and their contribution to economic growth and employment opportunities. So, the signing of this MOU, which aims to address the critical issue of making fund, especially international fund, available to startups, it will be a major step in boosting Indian startups. I'm sure that this will also help the startups to get international experience in their growth. Besides, this initiative also will have multiplier effect, triggering many other similar initiatives in making resources available to startups. Besides, this collaboration also opens up plenty of opportunities for investors as well. So, on behalf of Consulate General of India, I sincerely thank all partners and organizations involved in making this event, very important event, happen here. This must be an important chapter in startup funding initiatives in the Middle East. Once again, I wholeheartedly wish that the intended objective of this initiative is met 100% and taken to logical conclusion. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, for your wonderful support from the Consul General Office, from the Ambassador Office, and we're very proud. And we show you that from the private sector, with our local partners, we'll collaborate with both the governments to see and meet the mission and the vision of the growth, economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd now like to invite my very dear friend, and you cannot say anything less than that, the Padmaja Ruparal. She is a co-chairman of FICCI Startup Committee. She's a co-founder of Indian Angel Network and a founding partner of Indian Angel Fund. She's a key player in the Indian and the global entrepreneurial ecosystem, having helped tie all over the world the Indian Venture Capital Association and the IN Fund. She built the largest early stage investing platform with almost 200 plus portfolios, 200 plus portfolios, companies, which today stands to a aggregated valuation of more than $4 billion. Hats off to you, Padmaja. She has been awarded the most powerful woman by Fortune India for 4 years. Forbes India also recognizes her the 30 most powerful women in India. She has been recognized by the Women Economic Forum as a Woman of the Decade in Investment Banking and the award. My dear friend, the floor belongs to you, Padmaja.
Thank you, Dr. Nirankar. Thank you for your kind words. I just want to say this is a very, very special moment. And I must applaud FICCI for bringing this together under the chairmanship of Mr. Chaudhary and the mentorship of Dr. Srivastav. This is to build a bridge between two countries, between the UAE, which can surely expand to the GCC area, and India. We've already heard from both the earlier speakers, Mr. Chaudhary and Dr. Srivastav, the kind of traction there is on the startup ecosystem in India. This country today is not only investing in startups, but more importantly, through the number of IPOs that startups have taken and the global acquisitions that are happening here, that there is a clear path to exit for investors. And therefore, this is becoming a very attractive country to not only start companies, grow them with the large market, but also to get exits. Today, as we work with the UAE partners, I'm delighted that we bringing together a startup bridge between UAE and India. This will bring two things. Number one, investors from the UAE and the GCC area to invest in companies here through the fund, IN Fund and the Turbo Fund, which will leverage the experience, the reach, and the operations of platforms like IAN and Turbo through the FICCI partnership. In addition, this will also help Indian companies to reach out to Middle Eastern and European markets through the Dubai and UAE areas. So it truly is a platform not only for investing, but growing companies. And I'm delighted that IAN and our Dubai partners, our UAE partners, are bringing this together to create the UAE-India startup bridge. Thank you, Nirankar, and I hope we take this forward very quickly.
Thank you, Padmaja. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, my very dear friend, who's a co-chairman of FICCI, Ganesh could not join because of a medical emergency, but I'd like to brief audience about TurboStart. Ganesh is the founder of the TurboStart, and he was earlier working with Pricewaterhouse as a senior partner. He met us in 2018, where we have done a program with Pricewaterhouse, FICCI and CNBC on the startups called Level Next. After seeing the programs, he got so fascinated, he resigned from PwC. He started his own fund called TurboStart in 2018. and a lot of industry leaders. He was a champion of family-owned businesses in India and the world. They pledged 250 crore to Ganesh to start the business. He set up a fund to help start up. The first round of funding was exhausted within the period of launch of 6 months. 27 companies were invested. Please go to the website called Turbo Start. You will find the company's portfolio. Ganesh, after that, is launched another fund called $10 million, which is bringing to Dubai, along with Padmaja $100 million fund, which are the two funds existing in India. We like to partner with what we're trying to do is creating a bridge, as said by my mentors and Padmaja, of collaboration and partnership. We are talking to many stakeholders. We found a great partner called MCA, Management Consulting Audit Firm of Gulf. And we like to work together in partnership to build ecosystem between the India and the UAE and the Gulf. My request, Mr. S. Venkatesh, the managing partner of MCA, to kindly come and address all of us. Thank you.
Good evening to all of you. Respected Consul Sri Kalimuthu, Sri Ajay Chaudhary, Dr. Saurabh Srivatsava, Mrs. Batmaja, in absentia, Mr. Ganesh Raju, and Dr. Nirankar, and Mrs. Gunvina. It's wonderful to see a galaxy of intellectuals who have all played in a key role in this collaboration, which is a beginning of a new journey. Today is truly a big day for all of us at MCA. It was for this to happen, I'd like to thank Dr. Nirankar ji, who was instrumental in bringing all of us together for this great collaboration. Our Consul General, Dr. Aman Puri ji, who was supposed to come, has been instrumental in many new initiatives and supporting startup ecosystem is close to his heart. He has given platform for 300 plus startups to pitch in front of various potential investors through various Elevate sessions. Is a testimony to that, which was mentioned by even Sri Kalimuthu ji. We are fortunate to have his representative, Sri Consul Kalimuthu. Thank you for coming here. We are starting at a perfect time where the Government of India initiated many startup ecosystem and expected to be ranked first globally in successful startups, which will create many unicorns. As our PM Modi ji says, vision on Startup India is to enable startups and make India #1 in the field. And also, as a part of the UAE Vision 2021 of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, is to make the UAE among the best countries in the world by the Golden Jubilee of the Union. To translate the vision into reality, the government has implemented several measures from easing of business setup and operating to attract the best talent in technology fields and creating government-led incubation agencies for entrepreneurs. UAE strongly believes in nurturing startups and SMEs for the economic growth. UAE aims to become home to 20 unicorns in 2031. UAE and India have cultural and business ties since over 50 years, and the Indian diaspora in the UAE has always strived to excel and add value to both the economies. MCA is excited to participate in this collaboration and keen to support the growth and development of startups in India and UAE. This will act as a catalyst for providing a process for developing early stage startups in India and UAE into viable global ventures and make them attain unicorn level. This also would create an accelerator to boost the growth of India UAE startups. MCA has been advising and mentoring startups and entrepreneurs in early and growth stage. MCA, with its vast network across the GCC, with offices in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah, Bahrain, Muscat, and Jeddah, and shortly in Doha, is confident that we can support in this initiative. The beginning is the most important part of the work. All of us have dreams and power to realize them, but all we need is to begin if we want to achieve success. And today we have commenced. I'm sure this will be a successful partnership. I'm confident this will create value not only for its stakeholders, but also for both the nation. Thank you. Thank you.
Come on the dais. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be an announcement of our partnership collaboration between the Indian Angel Network, the FICCI lead, which is approved technology business incubator of the Government of India, the Turbo Start, and the MCA. What does this announcement mean to all? and the startups which are online from every part of the world. IN has a $100 million fund. TurboStart has $10 million fund. We will help from the leading financial institutions and the investors of the UAE and the Gulf to harness the power of these funds from UAE with the collaboration of MCA. And we'll bridge an ecosystem of a $150 million pool fund, which will be accessible to every startup from all over the world. But we are very proud with our specific collaboration with UAE, which we are anchoring with the MCA, with my partners, with the permission of my chairman, co-chairman, mentors, and picky lead board. I'm exchanging the partnership and witnessing and offering a $150 million fund to the startup community of India and UAE. Thank you very much. And thank you, my mentor, Dr. Ajay Chaudhary. Thank you, my mentor in chief, Saurabh Srivastav. Thank you, madam, my dear friend, Padmaja. Thank you, Ganesh could not join, but is in the heart. Thank you, MCA.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now I request.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be here.
I'd like to recognize some of my secretariat who have really, along with Vicky, a journey since 2007 in this. And one of the key people who had worked with me is my very, I would say she was like a CEO of the program, Iti Gupta, who had really worked hard to build all my 21 partnership in India and abroad. I'm proud of her. I'd like to now request R. Lakshman to give us a word of thanks.
Good evening to all of you, those who are present here and as well as virtually. It is indeed a momentous occasion today, especially UAE has been now selected the top countries in the world on 152 parameters. And we chose this occasion to launch this bridge today of India and UAE through our partners in FICCI and India Angel Network and TurboStart. What a great day today. And this again shows that India and UAE, countries which have collaborated together for centuries in terms of people-to-people relationship and trade relationship, and which is furthering, the non-oil trade growth, which is currently about $40 billion US pre-pandemic level, and which is going to be about $100 billion in about 5 years. Under this turbocharged growth, here we are witnessing a momentous occasion of this partnership, this bridge which we are building together. And I would like to thank firstly Mr. Nirankar Saxena for the Director General of FICCI, who has been instrumental and who has been a driving force and whose vision is has enabled to reach to this level in the last couple of days. And of course, Mr. Nirankar has been able to get the support of his esteemed FICCI Startup Committee, Dr. Ajay Chaudhary, Padma Bhushan awardee, and as well as the FICCI Startup Chairman, as well as the Chairman of HCL and founder of HCL, along with Dr. Saurabh Srivatsava, who is again a Padma Shri and co-founder of NASCOM and past president of IAN. And thank you for again, being there and supporting this journey together with us. And the esteemed members who all attended today in terms of this event, Mr. K. Kalimuthu from the Consul General's office, who's handling the Consul Economic Division. And thank you for your support. The Consulate General of India has been always supportive of, and the Indian Embassy has been supportive of very many events, and more particularly so to the startup ecosystem in the last couple of weeks, particularly to the Elevate, startup. There are hundreds of startups who have come through that pitching sessions. And Padmaja, with whom we have had interaction. Padmaja is, the co-chairman of FICCI Startup, as well as, the co-founder of Indian Angel Network. Again, very instrumental and driving force to put this together with already an existing fund about $100 million. And Ganesh Raju, who unfortunately is not able to join us today. Again, a visionary leader who has got a $10 million accelerator, which combined together. And as Nirankar ji announced that we combined together, put a bridge of about $150 million we create from here. And we launched this fund, which will facilitate both the India and UAE startups to tap into this. Thank you, Venkatesh, for addressing the gathering today, and indeed a momentous occasion for the MCA and the colleagues here. And a lot of people have worked behind the scenes from FICCI, particularly Poonam from India, Mr. Narankar's office, and of course, Ms. Gunvina from FICCI here, and as well as the India Pavilion Expo team here. Thank you for all your support for this wonderful venue. And we look forward this partnership cementing together into next level in terms of announcing more partners, stakeholders, and eventually, creating an India UAE to India GCC fund. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lakshman. And that's the last transaction of the event. Before I conclude, to my all startups which are online and who are present, and especially to FICCI coordinator Sunny, who had organized a wonderful pitch sessions for Indian startups and UAE startups in Dubai. Do not wait. The fire is on. You have $100 million. Please access Indian Nigeria Network right today. If you have an investable company, you can approach Ganesh Raju to access this $10 million fund. You may contact the AMCA team in Dubai to harness additional funding for you. I urge Sunny and the team, the 60, 70 startup which you have wonderful this session, do inform them. If they are investable companies, ask them to access this page. This page is on from today, right now. With these words, with the permission of my mentors and Papaja, I close this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you and well done.
Thank you, Nirankar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bringing all
Nirankar.
this together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.